You know, I'm an amateur psychologist of sorts. I love specifically perception and awareness. I was a psych major, undergrad, and it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. But I loved perception, awareness, how you see things, hallucinations versus illusions. Illusions are things that are there, but you see them differently. You see them in a distorted way. A hallucination or an hallucination is not there. It doesn't exist. You're creating it, perhaps in some kind of a psychotic fugue. But what I find to be fascinating is the perception and the reality of what we think is history and also what's happening now. We will change. We will alter what we see to be important to fit and comport with our worldview. Don't you like that word? Comport. But it's true. Tolstoy said history would be a wonderful thing. History would be a wonderful thing, he said, if only it were true. I never forget that. There isn't a day that goes by when I don't think about it or I don't tell somebody about it. I'm going to be talking to you about this, and I'm going to be talking to you in a way that you're not going to hear anybody ever suggest, because if there were ever any kind of a cable news program that espoused what I'm saying right now, they'd be out of business in a heartbeat. And you'll find out why. Because I believe in telling you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Where have I heard that before? But first, before I continue with this extremely fascinating disquisition, a word, a very important word, from our sponsor. You know, it's almost 2023, and nothing's really changed, has it? The year's ending, and things are now even more expensive than they were at the start. Now, we all love the holidays, but they're not going to be that great if you can't afford them. And this is true. And this is just the beginning of what looks like to be a bad recession. But it's not too late to avoid the same thing happening again. Thousands of people have retired comfortably with the help of Noble Gold Investments and their precious metal IRAs. If you've been a hesitant investor, but one of the handful of Americans who can go for gold and silver, now's the time to act. Now. Talk to an expert member of the team today. And if you get in before the end of the month, you'll bag an incredible free 3-ounce silver American Virtue coin with every qualified IRA of $20,000 or above. Let me make sure you're not seeing the glare of this. Is this beautiful or what? Better believe it. You can't go wrong with Noble Gold Investments. So call the team now at 877-646-5347. One more time, write this down, 877-646-5347. Call right now to find out more, or visit noblegoldinvestments.com. And remember, there is always a risk of loss, and past performance is not indicative of future results. But take it from me and call the professionals at Noble Gold Investments. Again, at 877-646-5347. Or use this little handy-dandy URL that we've appended to this video presentation. Noble Gold Investments. 877-646-5347. Call today. Call now. Right now, go through the news today. Look at what's happening. Look what they're reporting, what's happening in China. Is that real? Could that be something that we could ever have to deal with? Or is it distorted? Is it taken out of context? What is real? What's the reality? What's the perception? What is it? What do we do? What's happening now with, we have like 700 or so days until the elections, until 2024? I'm not going to go into detail about asking your particular philosophical and political ideations and inclination, but it fascinates me. You've heard this before. Never talk about religion or politics. That's what I find to be the most interesting. And I really want to know why you think what you think. That's what I find fascinating. Why do you think this? How did you come upon this? How do you see the world this way? Invariably, whenever I can't, but I try as best I can to watch cable news, I think to myself, why did you ever pick this story? Why is this even remotely interesting to you? How did you get this? Why is this interesting? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. It's fascinating. And what's also interesting, as you will note, is that people will always have you pegged for something. I know you have all kinds of names for my way of thinking. For me, if you followed me, you don't know me. Believe me when I tell you this. Believe me. I will be such a disappointment to you when you find out what I believe, because here's the best part. What I believe oftentimes has nothing to do with what I'm seeing for the first time. In law, we call it a case of first impression. What I am seeing, I'm thinking, this is brand new. A lot of things repeat themselves. But more important, what I find to be the most interesting is where you come from in terms of your version of it. Let's just take a couple of ideas. First, in the old days, under the Reagan administration, Ronald Reagan came up with this idea that somehow government, I always said government was bad. One of the biggest lies in the world is I'm from the government and I'm here to help. He thought that was so funny. He hated the government. Couldn't stand the government's a word. The government's is the basis of all that is evil, right? The government. I never really understood this. You mean the police? You mean the public library, fire department, sanitation, people to pick up the garbage, public schools? Do you think that's bad? Oh, well, no, it's not what I meant, but you know what I meant. No, I didn't know what you mean. What do you mean by that? What do you mean, the government? We need it. Isn't the government us to an extent? Maybe. Now, I'm a constitutionalist, which scares people. I've never seen anybody who gets so upset when somebody says, remember when they would call people truthers, voter deniers, birthers. You always have a name for this. Conspiracy theorists, there's some name. What about normal? You're a normie. Not good. There's always a name to explain your way of thinking. But I never understood why these people said this. Now, other folks believe that there is absolutely nothing wrong with this thing called the government. I don't want to say encroaching upon, because that kind of gives you the idea of where I'm going with this, but dare I say, involving itself, maybe even interfering itself with your life, determining that which is best for the country, culturally, spiritually. Ooh. Now, the only thing wrong with that is that that's okay so long as your side's in power. See, one of the best part about this whole political thing is you always have to ask yourself, I like what I'm doing. I like the ability that I have right now to exercise this particular power, but do I want to give that to somebody else? No. Do I want you to have that? No. I want that. I want this ability to do that which I think is important. Let me tell you something. This is the scariest thing in the world. If I could introduce you to the average American, right in the middle of the Gaussian curve, just the average, the most representative American there was, what do you think that person would look like? What would he be? Or she? What would they be? Or they? What? What do you think the values would be? What do you think would be the political inclination and persuasion? If I could just have a list, a checklist, and write, just ask, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What do you think about separation of church and state? What about the ability to levy taxes and war? And do we need the Congress to commence a war. And what is a war? When you help somebody out and you assist another country, is that a war or is that just doing the right thing? Because I love the definitional part of it. We all have these ideas about what definitions are. And if you heard the average American, not the extreme, but just the perfect composite, you would be amazed at how sensible, how ordinary, and how really non-threatening this person would be. Do you consider yourself even remotely near that of the average American? Are you ready for this? I do. Absolutely. I think I'm so in the middle of the curve, it's not even funny. Because people say they are things that they're not. I learned this from picking juries. Juries would always say, if you ask somebody, do you believe in this? Oh, yes, I do. Do you believe that this defendant is entitled to a fair and honest trial? And that if he is acquitted by you, well, so be it. Well, absolutely. Now, do you think people really believe that? Especially in a bad case with a bad dude? No. But they say it in public because they feel funny being in a courtroom and saying, no, hang him. Well, kind of like that, some people say things to fit in, to comply with, and to coexist with their friends and family and co-workers and the like. But if you really ask them what they think, I think you'd be surprised. I'm going to come up with a checklist for you to answer. And I can tell immediately, and sometimes, and by the way, let me tell you something. Do not think that you can tell somebody or tell the way what they believe by how they look. And another thing, every label you've heard, conservative, liberal, libertarian, anarcho-syndicalist, whatever it is, progressive, woke. Oh, I hate this woke. I don't even know what this word is. Woke is a pejorative. Woke's like right-wing zealot. You're woke. I'm not woke. You're some liberal, you're a Bible thumping. You're a right-wing. We get into that. But the average American, you and me. That's scary, isn't it? Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell so you're always notified of new videos and the like. And whatever you do, I beg, implore, beseech, and entreat you to comment as you see fit.